One urban legend in western Pennsylvania is largely true: the tales of Charlie No Face, or the Green Man. He was actually Raymond Theodore Robinson, a severely disfigured man whose nighttime walks turned him into a legend in western Pennsylvania. Robinson was so severely mutilated by a childhood electrical accident that he could not go out in public without inciting panic. So, Raymond would go for long walks at night. Local tourists and residents would drive into Raymond's neighborhood, hoping to encounter Charlie No Face. Many people passed on tales about him, some of which were exaggerated, to their children and grandkids. People who grew up on the tall tales may have been surprised to learn that the Green Man was, in fact, a real person who was liked by his family and neighbors. Raymond Robinson, born in 1910, was only 8 years old when he suffered an injury that would dramatically change his life. He was injured by an electrical line while climbing a pole to reach for a bird's nest on a bridge near Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. The bridge had a trolley with electrical lines of 120,000 and 22,000 volts, which had killed another boy less than a year before young Raymond's accident. Surprisingly, Raymond survived the electrical shock, but he was horribly disfigured, losing his eyes, nose, and right arm. Robinson lived in Beaver County and spent most of his days, for the rest of his life, confined at home with relatives, making wallets and belts to sell. He rarely ventured out during the daytime because of his grotesque appearance. But at night, Robinson went for long walks on a quiet stretch of Route 351 with the help of a walking stick. Groups of locals regularly attended to search for Charlie No Face while he was walking along the road. He usually hid from nosy neighbors, but he'd sometimes engage with them with a short conversation or take a photo for beer or cigarettes. Some people were cruel to him, and others were friendly, but none of the encounters with people deterred Charlie No Face from his nightly walks, his only chance to get outside and get some fresh air. Robinson reportedly stopped the walks during the last years of his life and was placed in a geriatric center where he died in 1985 at 74 years old. Unsurprisingly, Charlie No Face became a local legend in Pittsburgh, and his real story was obscured by the myths about him. In some stories, he's the Green Man. In this tale, he grows up after his childhood accident and hides in an abandoned house as he grows older. The nickname Green Man comes from his skin, which was alleged to be green because of the electrical shock. The story of Robinson was passed down through several generations and retold so many times that his real story was overshadowed by the myth. Filmmaker Tisha York had planned to direct and produce a movie based on the Green Man legend called Route 351, but the shooting was delayed by the recession in 2008. The movie production is on hold as of 2022, but York has the film rights to the story. Not much is known about Raymond Robinson, other than that he lived a solitary life. However, Pete Pavlovic gave a 1998 interview with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and said Charlie No Face was a hell of a nice guy. Pavlovic was a schoolmate of Robinson's sister, and he said he used to bring dates to see him and bring Charlie No Face Lucky Strike cigarettes. Pavlovic also told the newspaper people would often meet at the diner he worked at before driving out to try to spot the Green Man. Even though Robinson died in 1985, his legend lives on and is as strong as ever. Marie Werner, who grew up in western Pennsylvania in the 1960s, said the tale of Charlie No Face is still a big topic at high schools in western Pennsylvania. While much of what's said about the Green Man may be untrue, his legend seems cemented in western Pennsylvania folklore now forever.